Welcome to the Business Guild Success Funnel Podcast. My name is Pat Hammond. I am one of the Guild's co-founders and your host for the podcast. I am so excited for this episode because I am talking to Salesforce and CRM expert Veronica Hugh from PC Consulting. And if you follow Flackery and the Biz Guild blog, you will know that CRMs are a regular topic. They're also my personal kryptonite, which is why I am so excited to have Veronica here. Welcome to the podcast, Veronica.
Thanks so much for having me, Pat. I appreciate it.
So let's just jump right in here because I understand the value of a CRM and I want to learn to love a CRM, but I'm a web developer and I find them incredibly overwhelming. So let's just jump in with the obvious question. Is a CRM something that really does benefit smaller business owners, people who are maybe consultants or coaches or one or two person teams?
Yeah, I think that, CRMs benefit a lot of different type of businesses. And I think one of the biggest benefits is being able to understand who your prospects are, able to understand who your clients are without you trying to think of it and remember it in your head. We all have so much going on as business owners, as executives, and also sales teams, right? They just have so much going on a daily basis. It is impossible to remember who your clients are, who you're supposed to follow up with, who you promised a proposal to. Sometimes we use our calendar as ways to track that. Sometimes we use our notebooks or post-it notes. I think having a CRM help us in that effort is an integral part of all of our days. It can be super overwhelming though, like you said, right? If you've tried a lot of different CRMs and you have tried to set it up in a way that works for your business and you just get frustrated and just kind of throw your hands up and say, oh, I'm just not going to do this anymore. But I do think that there is value in it for even one person companies and people who are just trying to run their business to help them manage their prospects and their customers.
So why do you think it's overwhelming? Is it just because you really do need to understand what you need the system to do before you start? Or is it that a lot of the CRMs really aren't designed for small teams?
So I think the first thing that's overwhelming is there's about 1,000 choices, right?
Yeah.
Which one do you go with? You have the big names in the business, obviously Salesforce, right?
Yeah.
And then you have HubSpot and you have Zoho and you have Keep and you have all of these other systems. It's like, as a business owner or as someone who's trying to run a sales team, which one do I even choose? And obviously my favorite is Salesforce, right? But Salesforce can be super overwhelming, and so can a lot of other CRMs can be overwhelming because they do a lot more things than just try to help you to track your business, track your leads, track your customers. So if you partner with someone who can help you understand what a CRM can do for you and take the business case that you're trying to solve and put it into a CRM, that takes a lot of that confusing and that just overwhelmingness out of the situation. So you can have it be as simple or as complex as you want it to be, right? A lot of these CRMs have different integrations that you can put into them. You can have them speak to different systems that you have, or you can simply have account contact and opportunity information in your CRM with activities. So it's really about what you're looking for and what business use case that you're trying to solve. And there are consultants that can help you to determine what level of CRM you need, because even once you choose one, it's okay, now they have 5 different levels. Which one do I choose from there? And so it can be super overwhelming, but it is something that will help you to grow your business because you can take that next action and how you need to manage your customers, how you need to reach out and get back to your clients. There's like 2 things when it comes to CRMs, I think that are super, super important to remember. One is, if you're going to use a CRM, you should try to make it your source of truth, right? This should be where your prospects.
But your source of truth?
So your single source of truth. Okay. So at any given time, you should be able to look in your CRM and you can see who all of the prospects that you're reaching out to are and who all of your customers are. And what was your last interaction with them? if anyone was to look in your CRM, they should be able to kind of pick that up, right?
Okay.
They should be able to say, oh, Veronica reached out to this person last Thursday. My next follow up with them is a week from Wednesday.
Yeah.
And so if you make that your CRM and you make it so that at any given time you can go in there and it is your source of truth, it kind of takes that off your brain. So you don't really have to think about what that next step is. So you can free up time in your brain to be able to do other creative things to help you run and expand your business.
And your day.
And your day, right?
Yeah, and your day. See, I mean, that's really what I need, because like I know like my use case is unique for small business owners, in that a lot of the people I need to stay in contact with and keep track of aren't necessarily clients. Some are, but I mean, what I really need are being able to follow up with sources, people that I talk to for information, researching articles, people I talk to about pretty much anything, because I'm a big networking person and I like to be able to stay in contact with people. But then again, I also need that flip side where I need obviously to bring people into the sales funnel, follow up with leads, follow up with existing clients, and pretty much everything in between. And I've really, one of the things I've struggled with the CRMs is that a lot of them make it difficult or impossible. And this sounds so ridiculous to me as a web developer, because it's such a simple thing to code, but a lot of them don't have an innate capacity to add a tag or create groups so that you can assign the same task to multiples of people, or whenever, I mean, obviously you can do like next step kind of things, like, but to do a mass thing where you're sending something to 50 people or 100 people, I haven't found one that really does that well. This, I assume Salesforce probably does, though.
Yeah, so just a couple of takeaways from what you said. So I think the first thing that kind of stuck to me was being able to track different types of contacts within a CRM.
Yeah.
So for me, when I'm tracking accounts and contacts in my Salesforce instance for my business, I have a couple of different types, right? I have vendors who I'm tracking in there so that I can see my interactions with my vendors, because my emails are linked to my invoices and things like that. I may have different partners that I'm working with. So if I have a partnership agreement, I can have that information tracked within Salesforce, and I can quickly and easily see the different types of accounts and the different types of contacts that I have on any given record within Salesforce. I think the same thing for you is if you have a source that you're writing an article about or something like that, or a podcast a podcast guest, you can track that information in Salesforce as well with a tag or a pick list drop down or something along those lines. And that would be
but how is it easy to add a tag? Because some of them, like, you have to literally go in and hack it. I forget which one it was. I tried and I said, you've got to be kidding me. I mean, nobody who doesn't know how to code is going to be able to do this.
So it is pretty simple,
okay.
Right? So once you have it set up in the system, so let's say you and I built your CRM out together and we had a type pick list. And, 6 months from now, you say, oh, I need to add a new type to that pick list. If you don't remember me showing you how to do it during our training sessions at the end of our engagement, you can go to my YouTube page and you can say how to add a value to a pick list or how to add a value to a drop down. And then you'd be able to view that video on my YouTube page, and then you would be able to add a value to that drop down. Or if you wanted to create a brand new drop down or a brand new pick list, there's also a video on my YouTube page on how to do that.
Yeah, but so I mean, this is pretty straightforward. Then it's not like some of them I've tried that you have to actually literally go into the back end code and add it. This is something it's built in. All you have to do is make a few mouse clicks, type in whatever you want, and it's all good to go. And I don't think we really made the point, and I want to kind of circle back to this, that Veronica offers this service. She's not just an expert, she offers this service. We know a lot of marketing people, and they will give you tidbits, hints, some little tips and tricks, but they're not really experts at it, and they miss a lot. Veronica, this is her job. This is what she does. She will go into a company and help you set it up. She will help you optimize. She will help you design workflows, so you are saving time and reaching your goals. And I did like that one thing you mentioned when you're talking about different kinds of contacts. One of the things that we always push here is staying on top of your contracts, like your service agreements and things, and making sure they don't auto renew, especially if they're going to auto renew at a much higher price than the teaser rate you started with. And you're saying that you can use Salesforce for this to manage and monitor them.
Yeah, so a lot of the times what my clients will ask is, what happens when we close an opportunity? So you win an opportunity, you have to have your schedule of how you're invoicing the client, or you need to create a project management plan out of that, or you need to have, your follow-up plan for that. If you have a really consistent follow-up plan that you want to implement, you can add some automation around that, where you can say, in 30 days, in 60 days, in 45 days, whatever that looks like, you can have a task automatically created in the system to trigger you to follow up with that customer or that client. If it's a little less constant, so it's not the exact same follow-up every time, you can have tasks created that you can manually go in and override the dates or enter information to follow up with that customer later. Same thing with a project plan. If you have a set onboarding process or something like that, like we could create an automation around that so that you know exactly when those steps are coming up and exactly what the steps are that you have to do.
Okay, so how long should it take to set up the CRM? For, I mean, like basic use, not something that involves 50 departments and
Sure.
20 division stuff. Just the average small business owner would say like less than 10 employees.
So less than around, 5 to 10 employees. A really good startup plan should be anywhere between 3 to 4 weeks, a max of 6 weeks,
Okay.
depending on what type of complexity that you need. We offer a get started program where, we have a meeting every week, and basically we go through your use case. Wow. And we build that out in Salesforce. The following meeting will show you what we built out. We'll get your feedback on it, make any tweaks or edits that we need to make to it, and go through the next steps. A basic implementation will cover accounts, contacts, leads, and opportunities, and then tasks and security settings and things in the background like that.
Okay, so then with your service, you don't just build it and say, here you go. I mean, you're actually following up with people, helping them tweak it as they go along, because as we all know, what you think you need in the beginning is often not quite what you need in reality. And
absolutely.
So you're going to help people as far as keeping things moving forward, improving their implementation, and making sure they understand how to use it. Oh, that's awesome. So I'm assuming the answer is yes on this. Salesforce does have a built-in email service, like a MailChimp or MailerLite or something, where you can send email blast, or is it just single emails?
So you can send both. So
okay.
You would connect either and I know you're not, this is not you, but you can connect your Gmail, or you can connect your Outlook within Salesforce, and you can send one-off emails from within a contact or a lead, or you can make a list. So let's say that you narrow down a list based on location or job title or some criteria that we can narrow down within Salesforce. We can send a list email. And what that will do is it will blast that email out to 50, 100. There are some limitations on the number of emails you can send each day. But for the most part, most people wouldn't hit those limits on a daily basis.
Okay, so this is limited though to Gmail and Outlook. So basically, if you have a web-based email, or if you're on Evolution, I forget what Mac's email client is, but if you're on something else, what do you do? Do you have to use Zapier or? Very
Yeah, so we
Zapier.
would set up some other type of integration within Salesforce to allow your emails to track back and forth. If you have either Outlook or Office 365 or Gmail, there is a direct native integration within Salesforce. But we could certainly set up an integration with if you're using a different type of email platform.
Okay, so it's not a deal breaker then. It's just a few extra steps.
Yeah, it may just be a workaround that we would have to, maybe bring a developer in to kind of set up some type of interface in between.
Okay, that sounds scary. But at least I wouldn't have to do it because I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
So, what is the biggest challenge that you find people face when they start using Salesforce or any CRM? I mean, once it's set up and then the newness is all shiny and bright, and I mean, do people just get like deer in the headlights, or do they jump right in? And what do they usually stumble with?
So I think there's kind of two different lanes, right? If you don't have someone helping you to set up and implement the system, you're going to try to use it without a real process in place. And that's where a lot of people get frustrated and stop using the system because they don't have a true process. My background is sales operations. So it is my first love. It made me come into working with CRMs, and it's where I found my love for Salesforce. But my um, biggest thing with Salesforce is I want to make sure everyone has a process. You have a sales process in mind. We work through that process and help you understand how to work your leads, how to work your existing clients. And that's part of my service that I give during the implementation is I help you understand how you're going to use Salesforce in your daily sales life once you go live.
Yeah, that's huge. That is anybody who's ever built a database understands this, that it's so much easier if you know ahead of time what you needed to do and map out the various steps before you try putting it together, because you're always going to miss something and you're always going to be like, and then you got to start all over.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
what should people be looking for when they're shopping for a CRM? What do they say, like the top three things that they need to think about?
So I think the top three things. So one would be what type of information are you trying to capture? Are you looking to have a basic system that um, isn't going to allow you to do a lot of automation or customization? There are definitely some CRMs that they're just out of the box. You're not going to be able to, you talked about this, Pat.
Yeah.
If you want to add a value to a pick list, you're not going to be able to. And there are some big name CRMs that are like that as well, where you have to create a completely custom field or in order to track that information, but all of their standard reports use their out of the box field that you're not able to edit.
Yeah.
So, being able to understand, how much you want to customize the solution you're looking for, what type of information you're looking to put into the system. And I think lastly, like, what is your budget and what is your price point? Are certainly CRMs that are less expensive than Salesforce, and there are certainly CRMs that are more expensive than Salesforce, depending on the different levels that you're looking at.
Well, but I think though you have to look at the big picture. And one of my other gripes about CRMs is it's never apples and apples. You're never comparing. Like when you're looking at a CRM, you really truly have to sit down and write down which features each of them have, because none of them are identical. And from what you're saying, Salesforce, it may be a bit more expensive than the cheaper versions, but you're also getting the email factor, which being able to send emails to groups and not just one-offs and things, because not all of them do, and not even paid ones.
Not all of them do that. And sometimes you have to have that third party tool that you're going to be able to send your emails through. I think the other thing too is, if anyone is looking for a CRM that doesn't have a CRM now, or they have a CRM that they're not happy with, and they're looking to change to another CRM, you can work with a consultant. It's going to cost you a little bit more upfront to do that, but you can work with me and I will help you choose the right CRM and work with the company that you're looking to get you the best possible rate. if you purchase a CRM through a website, you're going to get their list price. And
Yeah.
I think, there are some people who don't know that that doesn't necessarily need to be the price that you pay. So, and there are certain, there are certain times of the year that are better to purchase CRMs than others. And we're in the industry, like we know when those times are, we know, how to talk to sales reps, and we know how to talk to them to get the best possible price for you. So there may be a little bit of an investment, and it's not huge, but there's a little bit of an investment there for us to help you
Well,
to work through the process of choosing one and getting the best possible price.
I think there's a lot of value though. I think, like I said, I'm a web developer. I code. I'm used to thinking with linear thought, following through, designing databases, and I get overwhelmed dealing with different CRMs. And I think paying someone this is one of those areas where you really make sense to pay someone instead of trying to DIY, unless you truly can use an out of the box solution where you literally have no changes and you can just use whatever recipes for workflows that they have built in.
Mm-hmm.
I think the value in hiring someone to help you with that, to help you find the right CRM or help you set it up and design workflows, is going to pay for itself. If not in the first month, probably the first 90 days.
Absolutely,
Because
100%.
you will spend hours and hours and days and weeks. Your blood pressure will go through the roof. You think your head's going to explode just trying to get the stupid thing set up. And like I said, I'm a web developer and I had these challenges. So, I mean, it's definitely worth paying someone, especially, I mean, the price is not too hideous. I mean, if anybody's prices are way, ridiculous, then yeah, find someone else. But I know like Veronica has tons of free videos on YouTube. Okay. They will answer many of your questions. And if you pay someone like Veronica to help you set it up to start with, you're going to like just skip that whole thing. You're going to skip the hellacious learning curve because she's going to show you how to do it. She's going to show you how to use it and how to maximize the benefit on it. And really, that's what we're talking about. I mean, if you're at the point where you truly need a CRM to manage your sales funnel and to manage your customer base, then you should be able to afford paying someone a little bit of money up front just to get you up and running. Because trust me, you don't want to be me. You do not want to sit there and spend months and months testing multiple CRMs. And if I didn't have this job, I would have paid someone, but I had to do it just for the research factor.
Yeah. And I think, one of the challenges too that a lot of people go through is they purchase a CRM. Yeah. A lot of the times it's an annual contract, it's a multi-year contract maybe. Yeah. And if you do not have someone help you set up that system and you get overwhelmed and you just kind of throw your hands up and you say, I'm not going to use this, then you're taking that entire investment and throwing it away.
Yeah.
And you're not growing your business, which is through the CRM, which is the purpose of having it to begin with. So taking that extra time and that extra financial, that extra cost to actually invest in implementing the system in a way that's going to be effective for you, it is going to save you time and money and make you money in the long run, really.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it's just, I know a lot of the systems are set up for larger companies, especially like Salesforce. You think of Salesforce for the big, mega international companies. But the truth is that people like us who have small businesses, who are either on their own, have one or two partners, or maybe a handful of employees, we need these systems. These systems can help us incredibly manage our time, manage our connections, manage our sales funnel. And you will save so much effort by using them.
Yeah.
But you just have to get past that initial setup and implementation.
Absolutely. And I don't think that there is a company too small or too large that can use Salesforce. It is really, really built to work for all size businesses. And the price point, when you look at Salesforce, don't get scared, because I can help you to negotiate that price to have it more budget friendly for you and help you to implement the system so it's going to be effective and you're going to get your money back on your investment for sure.
What can the average small business owner expect to pay, like a range, because you don't know what modules or setup they're going to need, but what can they expect to pay for a Salesforce type system?
So Salesforce out of the box is about $299 a month
Mhm.
for the enterprise version. There is a lower version. And what I tell people is depending on what time of year you're purchasing that lower version, it may be best for you to go with that lower version. But for the most part, we can get a pretty good deal with Salesforce, depending on the time of the year and the time of the month, to cut that price at least in half.
Okay. That's
So
huge. That's huge. If you can
you,
cut it almost in half,
Mhm.
I mean, especially when you subtract out the cost for having an email client or an email service provider, because they can get pricey. I mean, if you only have
Yeah.
a small amount, a number of contacts, you can usually get by on the free plan. But once you start getting out like above 200,
Mhm.
250 contacts on an email service provider, you're starting to pay money.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you have
So,
MailChimp or Constant Contact or anything like
yeah,
that, like
yeah,
having those number of contacts in there, Salesforce does not bill you per contact. So, you have that, let's call it $150 a month per license. If you're a single shop or have 2 or 3 licenses, you are definitely going to pay more than that if you have a Constant Contact, a MailChimp, a
yeah,
HubSpot, something like that for marketing.
yeah.
Now, I will say that if you start to scale and you want more marketing bells and whistles, then you will eventually probably outgrow what Salesforce can allow you to do from an email marketing perspective, from automations and things like that. But you can still write HTML. It's not drag and drop like a Constant Contact or something, but you can still write marketing emails and kind of send those through the list email functionality that we were just talking about.
Well, I think if you get to that point, budget's not really going to be an issue. Then it's truly going to be a
Exactly.
business expense that you expect to pay. And if you're going to have to pay another 150, 250 a month for another service, that's not going to be a problem for you.
Exactly.
So what is the one thing that you want people to know about Salesforce? Now, I'm going to say Salesforce, but you can say CRMs too. What is the one thing you want people to know before they go out shopping for a CRM?
I think just knowing that it's going to make your life easier. Like and don't get overwhelmed. Like have somebody partner with you to help you through that process. It is overwhelming. There's no way it's not what you went into business to do. You did not go into business to choose a CRM, to build a CRM, to
Yeah.
manage your CRM every day. Like that is what I went into business to do because I love it, but that's not what you went into business to do. So don't go it alone. If I need a web developer, I'm coming to Pat. I'm not going to try to do that myself. And I think there is some DIY things out there like building a website. And at the end of the day, even if you DIY your website, eventually I think we all end up paying somebody to make our website way better because
Yeah.
it's not that easy. um,
Yeah.
but when you get to a point where you need to start tracking your leads, prospects, and customers, that is the time when you need a CRM, and you should get a partner to help you through that process that specializes in it so you don't make any mistakes and you can have it be effective and very useful for you.
Awesome. Yeah. I just to give a little backstory here. I recently met Veronica. She came to one of our networking groups. And I was so excited when she said, "Oh, I'm a Salesforce consultant." I'm like, "Ha," because
She was very
um,
excited.
and she was so very helpful. I mean, when we do our networking groups, we do have a section of time set aside for people to ask questions and get help with whatever pressing business issue they have. And she was just jumping right in there, answering questions, telling people how to fix their issue and how, yeah, CRM can fix that for you. I was just so impressed, and I am so happy that we got you here today. So, is there anything else we
Yeah.
need to talk about?
No, the only thing I did, just a little plug, is, if you're thinking about getting a CRM, if you have a CRM, if you need help, I'm always looking to speak with people. I'm happy to talk to you for 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever it takes to, I always over pour my brain. So you're very likely to get something out of the conversation that you didn't have previously. But always feel free to go to my website, book a call with me. And I love meeting new people and helping people solve their business cases, to help their businesses grow. So thank you so much for having me today.
Well, I am so excited to have you here, and I hope that we can get you back at some point soonish to maybe go into a little more detail about how to design like a workflow, with a common workflow or something like that. So
Yeah, that'd be great.
I will have you on speed dial for that. So that is
For
a
sure.
wrap for this edition of the Sales Funnel Podcast. If you're struggling with Salesforce issues, like I said, be sure to check out Veronica's YouTube channel. She has tons of in-depth, easy to follow, and that's the key there, easy to follow videos on how to tackle common Salesforce challenges. You can also set up a 30-minute consultation with her to review your CRM needs so you can achieve your business goals. Just follow the link on her website, processingcornerstone.com. And don't forget to check out the summer issue of Flackery. And you can find that at flackerymag.com. The theme for this issue is opportunity, and it is crammed with articles, video, and downloads to help you find new opportunities for your business. Have a great week, people.